Hello. Welcome to Tech Talk Education. Linux 6. The Vi Editor. So I recorded that little intro movie way back in 2021, and I was messing around with my Stream Deck and some sounds that came with Voice Mod and things like that. And I thought it was hysterical because the Vi Editor is something everybody loves to hate, with the exception of people that are really, really long-time Unix, Linux users. And by a long shot, they will default to the Vi Editor. It's very funny. I've had students who come in and, I don't know if it's a historical thing or if it's just kind of a vibe thing, but they love the Vi Editor, so they'll get into it, and that's what they know how to use. But there are 6 or 7 other editors for Linux, so I'm not sure why Vi is still popular, but it is. So I'm going to talk about Vi and some of the other editors in this movie. I'm not a big user of Vi. I find it to be clumsy. There are people out there that have recorded entire long YouTubes on how to use Vi and how to really streamline it and make it work for you. I'm just going to show you Vi today so that you can see what it looks like, but I want to let you know I'm not a big Vi editor. Now, where did Vi come from? Well, Vi stands for visual. I always think of Vi. I'm an older guy, so if women were born in the 30s and 40s, they would have been named Violet. And so it would shorten to Vi back in the day. So when I hear Vi, I always think about Violet, but it really means visual. Now, there was a guy named Bill Joy, and he was a graduate student at UCal Berkeley in University of California, Berkeley. And he came up, there was a text editor in Unix that was strictly command line based. So there was no, like GUI or anything like that. And he developed this windowed editor. It's really not a GUI per se. This is too old to be a GUI. It's more of I've brought it into a frame here, and then you can mess around with special commands. And so this became the Vi editor. This was 1976, so it's been around a while. It's been modernized, so now it's called Vim for Vi Modern. And I want to show it to you, and then we'll go into a couple of the other text editors in this movie. So the Vi editor is launched from the command prompt. So I'm going to bring up the prompt here. It comes with almost every version of Linux. Let me maximize this screen here and move this recording window down. It comes with every version of Linux. So Linux Vi is available on everything, even if there's no other editor and you don't have the ability to download an editor, you will probably have Vi. So that's a reason to know about it. But on the other hand, yeah, not so much. Anyway, let's go. So first of all, I'm going to do man Vi, and that's going to invoke the man page for the Vi editor. Now notice this is called Vim. So you can get away with Vim or Vi. Either way, the system knows that Vi is Vim and Vim is Vi. It's Vi improved. And so you can come down here and see what else you've got that's going on here. And there are some other ways to get at it. And there are tons of different commands. So you could do tact for a tag, Q for an error file, and you get the idea. So you have all these options here, and you can go through and read about Vi and get to be a huge expert with Vi. I'm not going to because I like Nano a lot better. Anyway, I'm going to quit to get out of the man page. And I'm going to launch Vi. But before I do that, I'm going to move into the Documents folder. So CD into space Documents. Now you remember that we do not put a slash here because we're using relative addressing. And so what that means is that we know the Documents is immediately beneath our home folder. Tilde denotes home. And so when I change into Documents, I don't need the slash. If I wanted to go to the Etsy folder, I would do cd space slash Etsy, because what I'm doing is I'm telling it to go to the root of the file system. Slash means root, root means slash, and then go down and find Etsy. But in this case, because I'm in my home folder and I want to go immediately into Documents, which is beneath me, I don't need the slash key. But it does show me the slash key right here. So you can see that it says tilde/document. So it's telling me I'm in my home folder and I am now in the Documents folder. Also, please note the Documents is proper case here. I've got a cap D there, and Ubuntu and like Kali others go with capitalized folder names now. I'm not sure why, but they do. And so you'll have to watch that because Linux is case sensitive, Windows is not. So you could do a lowercase d and Windows would know what you were talking about, that you wanted to go into the Documents folder. Linux doesn't do that. It likes to see proper case, which is why in many, many, many cases, especially in old style Linux, you're going to see stuff that is all lowercase and separated by underscores. And if you're going to upload something to like a Linux-based web server that's running, say, Apache, you probably don't want to go with all the proper case stuff. You want to just go with lowercase files. And if you have multiple words, you probably want to put them together with an underscore. But that's a different story. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a file. So I'm going to touch hello world. So the Linux way of doing this would be like this. Now there's a different form that programmers use, and it's called camel case. Let me show this to you. I'll put a .text on the end of that, even though I don't need to. All it's doing is denoting that this is a text file to me. Linux could care less about these extensions. This three-letter phrase here is called an extension. This was popular in the DOS and Windows days. So you have a dot and then you have a three-letter extension. And it would tell you what the file does. Like this is a text file, exe means an executable, cmd means command, bat means bat, and so forth, MSI, Microsoft installer. In this case, we really don't need the extensions. Linux is totally cool with that. You will see certain extensions at certain times like .c or .py. But if we have just a text file, we don't really give a rip about the extensions. I'm putting it there just so I know what it is. And then you can see here now, this is called camel case. So what you do is your first word starts out in lowercase, like this, like hello. And then you have a cap W for world. And it's called camel case because you've got a dromedary camel right there. You're coming along and you go over the hump. It's called camel case. Very, very popular in programming. Now, you've got some choices. Linux doesn't care, but it's case sensitive, so when you go to invoke this thing, you want to remember that it is uppercase. Well, to get around that, what you might do is just put in underscore like that, and that'll make it a little bit easier so that you know that it's a standard Linux file. So I'm going to touch that. If I do a ls hello star, what it's going to do is show me that that file's out there. And of course, if I do an ls tackl hello star, it'll tell me that it is 0 length right now. It doesn't have anything in it. It was created today by me, and I have read and write rights to it. I don't have execute rights, and the reason I don't is this isn't an executable. There's nothing to execute. It's just a text file. Remember that this is the group that I belong to. By default, every user is put into their own group. So if you create a user called Sam, they're going to be in the Sam group, but you could add that user to other groups, like administrators or whatever. And so in this case, it's saying that the Bill group has read-write rights, and that the world group here can read the file, but they can't write to the file. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to invoke vi. So I'm going to say vi hello world dot text, like this. What it will do is it will open that up. It's blank. Now you've got to start watching the bottom of the screen because that's where all of your hints come from. It's telling you on the top that you are user Bill at machine bill-virtualbox or TAC VirtualBox. You are in the home documents folder, and down here it says, oh, you're dealing with hello world.txt, 0 lines, 0 bytes. Now, if you're only going to use vi for just a little tiny bit, you don't need to be this way expert, but there's a lot of commands you can use in vi. It's actually surprising. There's a lot going on here. But in this case, the main thing you want to know is that you have command mode and you have insert mode. So insert mode, command mode, you've got to switch between the two. So to go to insert mode, you just type in I. Let me click an insertion point here and type in I. And I'm in insert mode, you can see, because I'm able to type this letter, just validating that I'm in the insert mode. And then I will type in hello world, bang, 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 like that. Okay. Now, if I want to get out of I, I'm all done. If I want to go to the next line, I just hit the enter key like normal. There's a way to do search and replace. This is very robust. The tool is pretty robust. But if I wanted to, I might come down one more line and say, how are you today? Today, my zinnias are loving the rain. We had a big rainstorm the other day, and the zinnias are like very happy today. So now I'm in insert mode, and it's telling me that I am editing hello world.txt, and I don't think there's any other notification. Nope. So the next thing that I need to do is I need to get out of insert mode and go back to command mode. So the way that you do that is you hit escape. Escape takes me into command mode. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to save this off. Now this is very bizarre. So to save a file inside Vi, what you do is you type in the colon. So you do shift colon, and then there's some commands. If you just did :Q like this, you can see on the bottom left there of the screen, I've got :Q, that means quit. But it wouldn't save my changes and it would prompt me. So instead what I want to do is I want to save my changes, which means that I want to write my changes, that's a W, and then I want to quit, Q, like that. So there's really not a lot going on here. If I didn't want it to prompt me and I'm done, I don't want to keep this, just let me out of I, which is normally what I say. You can do a Q bang, exclamation point. We call the exclamation point a bang. You're just going to have to live with it. If I say Q bang, what I'm talking about is the exclamation point. What this does is it exits the document without saving it. But in our case, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do a write quit. Now you don't need to quit. You could just do a write like this. So let me come back in here. Oh, there we go, right here, and get rid of that. That'll write the file. So if you hit enter, boom, it wrote the file, and now it shows that we have 2 lines. Well, what if you wanted to take and copy one of these lines? So what you would do is you would grab the line here. You don't even need to highlight it because the system didn't know anything about at the time. Let me try and get away from this. I'm at the front of the line. You can do a YY. Now Y stands for yank, like yank on the tug-of-war rope, but it's YY, so it's yank, yank. So what you're doing is you're saying, go ahead and copy this particular line. So I'm just going to do YY. Okay, now you can come down to the next line. I've got to go back into insert mode. You hear it beeping at me. It's saying, hey, buddy, you currently are in command mode. I can't do that, so I'll go I for insert mode. I want to let you know that some versions of Linux, older versions of Linux, will alert you that you're in command mode or in insert mode. This does not. It's just telling me what the file is. And I'll do a YY. Oops. Okay, I just did a YY. And now what I'll do is I'll hit enter to go into, hit I to go into insert mode. And let me see if I can get over to the end of the line here. I've got to click an insertion point. And you can hear it all crashing. And this is my frustration with this thing. So do I need to be in command mode and hit enter? Nope. Insert mode, hit enter. There we go. And now I can do a P for paste. I've got to hit escape, do a P for paste. There we go. So that's a lot of fun with the Vi editor. That's why I made the front of this movie where I'm laughing because I'm like, you're going to have a lot of pain when you're working with the Vi editor. So good luck with that. But trust me, many, hundreds of thousands of people know the Vi editor very well. And it's not needed anymore. You just don't need to go through this kind of drain. Anyway, I'm going to do colon, write, quit. The other thing you could do is you could do capital Z, capital Z. So let's see if that works. Cap Z, Z, and it does that just fine. Now let's cat this. So cat hello world.txt and hit enter. There we go, and it got all the junk in there, and I would have to go fix that. So that is the Vi editor. I'm going to clear the screen. All right, now another editor that you have is called Nano, and I like Nano a great deal. So you can say Nano hello world.txt, and it's fine. It's being edited by Vil with Vim 9.1. What does it say? It says open anyway. I'm going to say Y for yes. Let me see if I can get in here. Y for yes. There we go. Okay. So it's no longer being edited by Vim, so that's okay. Now the thing I love about Nano is it works like an actual keyboard like you're accustomed to today. It looks a little bit like Vim because you have just, white on black text or vice versa. But notice on the bottom here that things are a lot different. So you have these little this little caret key that stands for control. So it's telling you if you want to do help, you would do the control key, either one, on the right or the left hand side of the keyboard, and a G for help. Control O is write out, or you could do a replace, a cut, and so forth. Normally what I do is I write my text, and then I just Control O to write it out, and then I exit. So let's see what that looks like. So instead of saying my zinnias are loving life, I'm going to also say that my, what are they, calendulas are also loving life. So this is a lot easier editor to use, and I like it a lot, and I might even come back up here and put another bang on the end of there because I lost one when I did that paste. So Vi just troubles me. I don't want to go to all that work. I don't want to have to work that hard to use the editor. If I had been working with Unix back in the day, I would love Vi because it provides an easier way to do something. Unix is a big deal. There's a lot of command lines and a lot of things that you got to know. And so this Bill Joy guy was just trying to make it easier. But now we don't care because we have editors like Nano. So I do a Control O to write out. Notice on the bottom it knows that it's working with file name hello world text. I hit enter, and then I do Control X to exit. And if I cat, I'll hit my up arrow to cat it. Boom, there we go. I did great. Well, what are some other editors that are available? So if you look for Linux editors, it's funny because it'll show you Vi, and then it'll show you Vim, and they're basically the same thing. It's just Vim is just Vi Modern. I don't know why they show that. But there's another editor that you might like. Now, we've already used Nano, but let's take a look at a thing called gedit. It may tell me that I have to install this, which is fine. So I'm going to type in gedit, and then I'm going to do the same thing, hello world.txt. Now, these are text editors. So what that means is this isn't going to allow you to load pictures or anything like that. This isn't office automation software. It's just for writing text. The good part about that is that the majority of your Linux system uses text files, and so this is why text editing is so very, very cool within Linux. By the way, Vi is a BSD thing. It stood for Berkeley Systems Division, which was an offshoot, I guess, of UCal Berkeley. It became a company, and it's now defunct, and the BSD stuff, it's called Berkeley Systems Division. The BSD stuff is now in the open source domain, so that's where it gets the BSD from. And there is a BSD Unix that you can download and play around with. It's okay. It's not a big deal. So anyway, it says here that I have to install gedit, and it's saying that I could use sudo snap gedit. Well, what on earth? Well, we've talked about this a little bit before. When you're installing software, you have a keyword. Now, in the Debian environment, it's apt. You could use snap. And if I'm being honest with you, I don't know if snap is something that is in addition to apt, if it's an adjunct to apt, or what it is, but I'm just going to stick with apt because it's been around forever and I like it. So you have to invoke sudo to do this. So what you do is you type in sudo. It gives you the instructions right there, and you'll say apt. Now, you used to have to say apt-tac get. You don't need to do that anymore. Distros of Ubuntu, even 4 or 5 years ago, were starting to get rid of the apt-get stuff, so you really don't need that anymore. If you see instructions with that, try it without the apt-get to see if it will actually work for you. It likely will if you have a newer version. And then we'll do install, and we'll install gedit, like so. So this shouldn't take long. By the way, if you put a tac-y on there, what happens is when you're installing Linux software, it comes up and says, it's going to take this much room. Is this okay? And it's prompting you for a yes. Well, a lot of times what you do is you just answer yes. You just say, yep, this is what I want to do. So the way to do that is to put in a tac-y, and that will automatically answer yes for you. I do want to install this software. And then it wants my password because I'm invoking sudo. And there we go. And so here's the thing. When you invoke sudo the first time, you have to put in your password. But after that, as long as you're working with the same window, the same terminal window, you've already keyed in your password once, you can invoke sudo again, no problems, and it's not a big deal. Okay, so we've got these triggers here. This is the man page database and all these other databases. Everything's cool. That's a good sign that it all installed. I'll clear the screen and I'll hit gedit like that again. I'm just using my up arrow. Up and down arrows keep a track of the keyboard history, which is very cool, especially when these Linux commands get super long. And I will hit enter. And boom, there you are. Now, do you see the difference with gedit? We love gedit because it's not white letters on black screen. It looks like regular word processor. So that's kind of cool. It doesn't have many more features than Nano, but it's actually a pretty cool one. So what should I say now? I should say my wife's green peppers are having their best summer ever. And I mean that. Boy, she's got a great garden this year. Okay, so we have that. Well, now, okay, so what do we do? How do we save this thing? Oh, well, we've got a little save button. Boom, right there like that. And we close this window and we're good to go. And if I hit my up arrow and I cat hello world, there you are. We've got it. Very good. So gedit works really good. There's another one you should know about. It used to be really popular. I think it's kind of gone out of popularity of late, but it's called Emacs. And so if we say Emacs hello world dot text, you hit enter. Oh, it says I've got to install Emacs. Well, look at everything you've got. So it says or E3, Emacs, Lucid, blah, 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 Jove, blah, blah, blah. And then it says we could just install Emacs. So let's do that. Let's see if that works. So we say sudo superuser do install apt install Emacs. Now I love this because today's help in Ubuntu, by the way, this works in any Debian, so it's not just Ubuntu. It could be Kali, Mint, whatever. All the Debian distros work basically the same way. This will work just fine in the other distros. Hit enter, and it says command not found, and that's because I did apt rather than T. Boom. There we go. And there I didn't put in a tac-y. It's prompting me to do that, and so I type that in. You will quickly learn to put in the tac-y to keep it from prompting you with that because it's just an annoyance. But the problem you run into is if you put in a tac-y and it does something that you didn't want it to do before you got a chance to look at it, that could be a problem for you. Okay, let's clear the screen. Let's try Emacs. In fact, I'll just hit my up arrow to get the command back. Boom. Oh, I've got to install the other stuff. I'm not sure I want to go through that. Totally fine. Now, there's one other one, and you're welcome to play with Emacs. Trust me, it's Nano is my go-to guy, but I do like gedit very, very well because it's a little bit different, and you can tell that when you're in editing a text file that you are literally editing a text file because it's black letters on white screen like you would have in Office automation software. And finally, let's take a look at what's the one that I wanted to look at. There are two more that I want to look at. There's one called LeafPad. This is a little bit older, so I'm going to LeafPad hello world.txt and hit enter. I need to install it, and it's telling me to use Snap, and I don't know if I can do sudo apt install LeafPad TACY. It doesn't find that, so let's see if I need Snap instead. I would have to research this. I don't know why they're getting away from. Oh, and it doesn't like the Y, so let me get rid of that. Boom. I don't know why this Snap thing is different, but now it's downloading the Snap core so that I can use Snap, so that I can install stuff using Snap. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is your introduction to why Linux is so very, very weird, because you wind up going down these little rabbit trails, which is fine. If you stick with the defaults, you're going to be fine. Let's see if it'll actually install LeafPad. I'm going to put you on hold while this thing goes through all of its stuff. Okay, and it says LeafPad from Ken Van Dyne star is installed. So it's version 0. I'm not very optimistic about that, so let's go clear the screen, up arrow to get my LeafPad call back. Boom. Whoops, blah, 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 blah. Oh my gosh, that doesn't look good. So I'm going to leave LeafPad alone. So I'll do a Control-C to exit all that and clear the screen. Let's not mess with LeafPad, shall we? Why make our life more difficult when we have gedit, we have Nano, we have Vi. There's another one I want you to know about. It's called Mousepad. This is used in Linux, in Kali Linux, and I like it a great deal. Let me kill this for now. I like it a great deal. So I'm going to say mousepad hello world.txt, and it probably doesn't, it doesn't have mousepad either. Let's do that real quick. So I'll hit my up arrow to find it in apt install like this. And there's my app right there, and I will install mousepad. Like so. Boom. And this is something that Kali uses. I like it a great deal. It's a pretty robust text editor. And so now if I come up here and I want to open this thing, that's what it looks like. But you have a lot of other tools here, like File, Edit. So it's a little bit more robust. So it's like a text editor on steroids. So it's like Notepad would be in Windows. By the way, when I'm in Windows, I like Notepad, but I actually like Notepad++ better, which is a text editor that you have to download and install, but it's really groovy. I like it a lot. Okay, so let's see, my wife's garden is having the best year ever growing tomatoes. And I never know if there's an E on the end or not, so I'll just keep it that way. Okay, so you got that, and you can widen it out, of course, like so. And I'll click File, Save, and then I'll quit. Nothing to it. It knows about these speed keys like Control-Q. These are all universal. Control-S is save, Control-O is open, Control-N is new, Control-Q is quit. And so we're good there. I close this, and then if I hit my up arrow, clear the screen, and I don't know what that error meant, and I do a cat on. Let's see if I can find this cat again. It's up here a ways. There we go. Boom, got it. Okay, that's all I wanted to talk about. I'm talking about text editors. I started out with Vi. We took a look at Nano, Gedit. We tried to install Emacs. It wouldn't install. Couldn't get the Snap thing working. It's not worth the time out of my life to go chase that rabbit. Then we install Mousepad. There are quite a few others. There's 20 or 30 others. But you get the idea, and these are the go-tos. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this movie. Please share this with your friends. Please subscribe. Please like it. Don't hesitate to leave comments. I'm loving that you guys are leaving comments with the movies. That's totally fine by me. And I will see you in the next movie. Thank you for listening, and bye-bye.